So I'm here with Judson Phillips, and he's with the Tea Party Nation, and he's interested in talking about the border-adjusted tax. I wanted to say that I already interviewed Grover Norquist, who's in favor of the border adjustment tax. I interviewed Steve Forbes, who's against the border adjustment tax. And after I pitted the arguments between those two good strategists, I think I'm against it.
Well, you know, I've got the greatest respect for Grover, but I always tell people liberty means you have the right to make up your own mind, and when Grover disagrees with me, he has the right to be wrong. But you know, in all
But you agree with Steve Forbes.
I agree with Steve Forbes.
Okay.
You know, or Steve Forbes agrees with me. I like it a little bit better that way.
Okay.
But look, the border adjustment tax is just a stupid, complicated tax that we're going to throw on that's just going to cause more problems. It's going to hike consumer prices, which guess what? Republicans will be held responsible for it because Republicans do not know how to message. They don't know how to get out there and sell their ideas to the people. The Democrats, I mean, their ideas suck because they're all socialists, but you know what? They know how to sell their ideas.
So let me ask you a quick question. Are you aware of the arguments that Grover Norquist puts forth to support his position? Because generally, you know, he's a no-tax guy, right?
Yeah, Grover is generally very good on taxes. You know, he's like anybody else. Every now and then he misses the boat on it. But look,
What's his argument?
In general terms, his argument is that, you know, this is revenue neutral. It's going to help American producers. And okay, I get that. But you know what? The Republicans have a bigger problem here. And I approach this, I don't like the policy of it, but I approach this from more of a political angle. Republicans need to do what Republicans do best. That is, do a straightforward tax cut the spending, and let's honor a couple other promises that have been made, like repealing Obamacare, building the border fence, and then guess what? You know what happens when that happens? Republicans win, not only in 2018, 2020, but for the foreseeable future.
I agree completely with you, and so we're on the same page here.
Yeah.
But I wanted you to be prepared, as an attorney that you are, to know Grover's argument so you can defeat it effectively.
Yeah.
Let me tell you what it is.
All right.
It's that he says that if you want to get a permanent tax cut, you through reconciliation, kind of technical stuff. Yeah. With 51 votes, you have to have it deficit neutral in 11 years, and that the only way not the only way, but the way he thinks, one way that you can do that is with this border adjustment tax. I think that I agree with you. If we cut the taxes straight, like we promised, and like Trump promised, and he should keep that Trump promise, we will have an economic boom, so it really won't matter in 4 years or 8 years or whenever. We are already seeing the results of that policy, and we will be able to, you know, cut spending even more and cut taxes even more if we want in the future. So this whole thing about trying to go for the perfect thing, which is this is in place forever, is also a fallacy, because as Steve Forbes pointed out, they make these promises, but then later they don't follow them anyways.
You know, a promise has a shelf life of about 15 minutes in Congress. And the real problem is you start something today, it can be changed and often ends up changed even before it gets passed. You know, the issue, and like I said, I'm glad you told me what Grover's position was, because I thought I knew what it was, but you know,
It's just kind of his technical explanation. I pressed him in the interview, couldn't we do this by reducing spending?
See, and that's where I would be coming from. You know, when was the last time the government really cut spending in anything other than the defense budget? Okay, the answer is never. One of my big proposals is something I call GRAC, the Government Realignment and Closure Commission. It's like what they did with the military in the 90s when Bill Clinton wanted to blow the peace dividend. base realignment, because they could never get congressmen and senators to agree to cut bases in their states or their districts. So they come up with this commission, and the commission says, okay, we're going to pick out the bases that we think should be closed or consolidated. It goes to Congress. Congress has to vote up or down on it, can't change it, then if they pass it, it goes to the president. Why don't we do the same thing with government? Let's pick out the wasteful programs, present them as a package to Congress, where Congress, they can't amend them. Powerful senators and congressmen cannot go out and protect their pet projects. It goes for an up or down vote, and then goes to the president for signature, assuming it passes. Grover is concerned about spending and making sure it's deficit neutral. How about let's make it deficit positive by cutting spending, and that's the best way to do it. But
like the Rand Paul one penny plan, you recall that?
Rand Paul's one penny plan is genius. Any of these things, I'm happy with almost any of them. But there was a governor of Tennessee one time who was